Hi, welcome to another edition of The Gray Area. So now we've entered May and there's no budget. So it's a full month late. Hopefully, we're going to do it next week. But we keep hearing next week. So time will tell. Then I want to just talk a little bit about A136, which is medical aid in dying. That bill came forward after 12 years of effort to try to get this law passed. The debate itself lasted 4 hours, then there was an hour of voting. So a total of 5 hours went in on the floor for this bill. This was both a very compassionate and a very passionate discussion on this bill and debate on this bill. I would say it's a very difficult position. We heard a lot of stories, personal stories. We also heard some issues with the bill itself. I might say that I'm not really passionately for it or passionately against it. This was just a difficult vote. I will tell you, probably one of the more difficult votes that I've taken in the chamber since I've been here. I voted no, and here's why. There's a couple of technical flaws in the language. The bill is long. It's 12 pages long. They don't tell you what the medication is in the bill, and I think that's for intentional purposes. So it calls for safe disposal, but that's it. It doesn't set any parameters for this, and it is very lethal, and in the wrong hands, it's obviously deadly. And why is that a concern? 40% of the people that are prescribed this medication never use it. That was cited by the sponsor of this bill. So that's 40% of this medication that is prescribed to individuals that it's never going to be used and it's never going to be accounted for. There's no recall in this medication. There's really no active tracking of this medication afterwards. And I think that is really detrimental to this bill. The other thing, it was based on a diagnosis, a dual diagnosis. Two different doctors have to diagnose the person with terminal illness that is within 6 months. And there is no scientific method for determining when somebody's life is going to end. I would tell you from personal experience, I have seen diagnosis not even come close to the time that the prognosis was given. So that's another concern. I think saying 6 months is kind of arbitrary and a fallacy. The other thing that's really concerning about this bill is the death certificate. When the doctor signs off on the death certificate, the underlying condition is listed as the cause of death, where it's really the medication that is the cause of the death. And that is clear. That's why people are terminating their life, because they don't want to die from the disease that they have. So we're really misleading people. We're putting doctors in a very precarious situation. You're going to have an autopsy that is going to state one cause of death, because once they detect this medication, it'll come out with a toxicology report attached to it, and then you're going to have a death certificate that's going to say something different or attribute the death to something different. I think that is critically important, that we're putting our doctors in this position. So those are some of the issues that I really took with this bill, and that is the reason that I did not support this bill. It's a difficult vote. We'll see. It has to go to the Senate next before it goes on to the governor for signing. So before it becomes law, we'll see what, if any, changes. There could be amendments to it from going forward. So with that said, we're on to next week. Hopefully we're going to do a budget, and I come back to you with some relatively good news about what's in that budget for the North Country. So as always, it's an honor and a privilege to serve you in Albany and back in the district. Call our office if you need me anytime.